Freddie Coleman, Freddie and Fitz, ESPN. Freddie Coleman with us all NFL football season. We thought we would bring him back for a little impromptu on the eve of the NFL draft tomorrow night in round one, and so much being made of it, and talk about what the Giants and Jets are going to do with their opening round picks. Freddie joins us here on Big Board Sports. Good morning, Freddie. Roger, Chris Honorado in Albany. Good morning, my man.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's everybody doing in the Capital District?
Phenomenal. How about you these days? All right.
Everything's well. Everything's well. I'm like you. I'm excited because I don't know what's going to happen at the NFL draft tomorrow. I don't even think the team's drafting know what they're going to do tomorrow night in the first round in Philadelphia.
That's the thing. It's like, that's what I opened up with. I'm like, you know what? We can sit here and speculate all we want, and the rumors fly around, but really until they actually do it, it is so hard to pinpoint the exact pick. But let me ask you this, Freddie. We have a poll question up on our Twitter page at 1045. The team, will the Jets draft a quarterback tomorrow, number 6 overall?
I don't think they will, and here's why. Because I think the Jets believe that, okay, we have two guys that we got to find out exactly if they can play, whether it's Bryce Petty or Christian Hackenberg. And if you take a quarterback again, all of a sudden you're essentially starting over. And if you're Todd Bowles, you're thinking, look, you stripped me of a lot of guys that I needed on this team when we were in win-now mode. If we're going to start over, then we should just blow the whole thing up. And it seems like the Jets don't want to do that. So I don't think the Jets will take a quarterback at number 1, especially in their division. You got to do a Tom Brady and Ryan Tannehill. If you can't have a guy that can come out that corner 150 miles an hour to pressure the quarterback, then you better find guys that can plaster wide receivers. You have to draft for your division. That's more of a need for the Jets on the defensive side of the ball than drafting a quarterback and having him sit for a year or two, and the whole staff may not be there in a year or two, and that quarterback is ready.
Yeah, I think the Jets should not draft a quarterback. They should draft a cornerback. How about that for the first pick?
Yeah, I'm with you. And believe me, because when the Jets were at their best, when Rex Ryan was doing their thing, what were the two things they had in common, the two things that made them successful? A strong running game to protect your quarterback, and they had a defense where they weren't really a great pass-rushing defense, but they had corners in Darrelle Revis and then Antonio Cromartie that could stick to wide receivers that allowed the defense enough time to get upfield and put pressure on that quarterback. Those things are going to have to be systematic for the New York Jets if they're going to try to dig themselves out of the hole they put themselves in last year, especially when a young quarterback's going to be there. You better be strong in the running game, but you better have guys that can cover wide receivers. I'm with you, Roger. I would not take a quarterback at number 6. I would take a cornerback at number 6.
Yeah, so I don't think the Jets will draft a quarterback number 6. I think the Giants will draft a quarterback, Freddie, tomorrow night. Not with 23.
Not tomorrow night.
But I do think in the second or third round, they will get a quarterback. I just get that feel with Jerry Reese talking about how for the first time he's actually looked at quarterbacks. He's about the future of Eli Manning, how many more years he's going to be able to do it. I think quarterback in this draft will happen at some point for the Giants. You agree?
Yeah, I completely agree, but I'm with you. I'm hearing about 5 quarterbacks in the first round. I think 3 will go in the first round tops. I can't see 5, which means that maybe a Pat Mahomes or a Davis Webb could be available in the second round. And if you're Jerry Reese, and it's weird to think about it, but we have to, Eli Manning is 36 years of age. I'm sure that plenty of us look at Eli still being a 24, 25-year-old quarterback. Those days are long past. And if you're Jerry Reese, you know you have to prepare for a future that in your division, you have 2 rookies last year that you believe are going to make an impact in that division. Carson Wentz of Philadelphia and Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys. And Kirk Cousins is 27 years of age. So he essentially is still a young quarterback. You can't go into season after season. Then when Eli finally breaks down, you don't have that successor that's going to be waiting in the rings. You have the perfect time to draft a quarterback in either second or third round. You should be able to get a quarterback prospect that you're looking for, and you're not expecting him to play right away.
Hey, Freddie, Chris Honorado here as well. Is there anything more Cleveland Browns than to tank for a draft that has a very lukewarm quarterback class?
The only thing missing from the Cleveland Browns, once again, is Kevin Costner, a draft day movie sequel, seriously, with this football team. Because when you have so many factions wanting a quarterback, when you really need a guy that can play defense, you have more holes on defense. You still have Cody Kessler and Brock Osweiler at quarterback. I know those guys aren't great shakes, and even together they don't make a really good quarterback. But if you're going to draft a quarterback number 1, if that's going to be your guy, why are you thinking about Mitchell Trubisky instead of Deshaun Watson? Give me a guy who can actually play, who has shown the ability that not only has he won games, but won championship games, or he's been the best player in 2 championship games in college football. I don't understand how the Browns continue to do this. And this is what happens when you're trying to reinvent the wheel and not have football guys that can scout talent. Even your head coach says, we need a defensive guy. I can coach the quarterbacks we have here and make them sustainable a little bit. But we need somebody on defense. And yet, it wouldn't surprise me one bit when Roger Goodell walks out there in the middle of everybody in Philadelphia and he says, with the first pick, the Cleveland Browns take Mitchell Trubisky, and then Cleveland will burn at that standpoint because they're thinking, this is the last guy we need at quarterback. But it's typical Cleveland Browns that when they try to do the right thing, they just can't seem to get out of their way.
We're talking with ESPN's Freddie Coleman. Draft comes up round one tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Freddie, couple of things happening already, though, leading up to the draft. And this morning, Adam Schefter breaking the news that Marshawn Lynch is going to sign with the Raiders. To me, that only helps Oakland, and already a good team. They were good last year. Now you add Lynch. I think there's nothing not to like about that.
And you know who it really helps? Your defense, because now you got a guy, Marshawn Lynch, and we saw not only how terrific he was running the football at Seattle, but that attitude was really able to just take over that football team where he made your quarterback better. Your defense is not playing as many plays. They got inspired by him being out there and just bringing that toughness and that rawness. Now, you're not expecting him to be a 25 to 30 carry guy. That's not going to happen. But when he's out there and he's able to do that, he's able to put the defense in a situation where, man, we got to stop that guy and don't let him take away our will. That not only helps your young quarterback and Derek Carr and those wide receivers, but it also helps your defense. And I think that was the one thing that was missing from Seattle last year. They didn't have that guy that could reduce pressure, not only in their quarterback, but also their defense. Oakland believes now they have a guy leading their running back core that's going to do the same thing for them that Marshawn Lynch did for the Seattle Seahawks. He's not going to be a 1,200, 1,500 yard per year guy in the 2-year contract. But you're not expecting that. You just want that toughness that you know he's going to bring to the table.
Freddie, if you couldn't have the great life you have, is there anybody's life you'd rather have than Derek Jeter's? I mean, seriously.
I've wanted Derek Jeter's life for a long, long time because, believe me, I think plenty of us men have lived vicariously through Derek Jeter because what's the old line that women want him and men want to hang around him?
Yeah.
He's been number one. I mean, think about that. They showed a list of all the women that he's dated. And this about 3 years ago. I read the article in the New York Daily News. And then they showed the women that didn't make the top 10. And those women were lottery picks for anybody else in the world. And they were not even in the top 10 for Derek Jeter. So believe me, I'm not surprised that Derek Jeter's post-baseball life may turn to be as good, if not better, than his baseball life with the New York Yankees because he's always had that sense of a big picture and how his brand was going to be central to how he's going to be successful in baseball and outside of baseball. I'm not surprised, barely, 2 years after retiring, that he's going to be an owner of the Major League Baseball team with former Florida Governor Jeb Bush. That does not surprise me at all because it's good to be Derek Jeter.
And, you know, most of the interviews yesterday with, Yankee players, and I read Joe Girardi talking about Jeter that he will do a really good job. You have any doubts about Derek Jeter? I mean, it's different. You're not a player anymore. You're now an owner. You got to make some tough decisions and all of that. How do you think Jeter will do as an owner?
I think he'll be fine here from the standpoint, not just because he's a baseball player, but he also understands the business of baseball. And let's be honest, he's in a tough market down in Miami. That if you're not winning by June or July, there are plenty of other things for people to do in Miami where they don't have to worry about following your baseball team and hope to become successful. But he understands the business side of things, seeing how the Yankees operated all those years. The main thing he knows about the business of baseball is if you don't have good players, if you don't have a good organizational structure, then you can't expect the fans to care when you're a fly-by-night team each and every year. That is something that I'm sure that he wants to eliminate first and foremost. He doesn't want the Marlins to be good for 1 year, then bad for 4. He wants them to be really good, contending for a championship for 4 years, and then you may have that off year. He understands that kind of mentality and structure that you're going to need in an organization because he learned all of that at the feet of Joe Torre and the Steinbrenners and also Bob Watson and G. Michael. He knows exactly what a baseball team needs to be successful and how to go about getting the players and the right infrastructure to make that happen.
I also find it very interesting, Freddie, that he will be working with and spending a lot of time with Don Mattingly, another Yankee icon.
Yeah, but the good thing is with Derek Jeter, he has the kind of chameleon personality that you can put him in any situation, and he's not going to be overwhelmed by the moment or overwhelmed by the person, whether somebody that he's known for a long time, Don Mattingly, or essentially somebody he's just met that he's going to be part of a group with Jeb Bush and everybody else. Derek Jeter seems to have that kind of personality that, just like water, he's able to mold himself to that situation. That is something that's not just a benefit. That's going to be a skill that he can use to help out Miami, help himself, and make this organization not what we've seen in previous years with the previous ownership of that team.
Freddie, always a pleasure, man. We appreciate a little impromptu here this morning, talking NFL draft and the Derek Jeter story, certainly with a lot of headlines here in upstate New York as well. And have fun watching the draft tomorrow night. And thanks for taking me home every single night when I leave the Mighty 1-3 at midnight. I've got you guys on. You do a phenomenal job.
Well, we appreciate that. If we get you home safely, then we're doing our job, Roger. So you be well, gentlemen, and thanks again.
Thanks,
Thank
Freddie.
you, Freddie. Appreciate it.